Hey, this is Troy from Planet 76. We've got some really good Sixers-focused content coming your way today. Make sure you subscribe to the pod so you can be in the know when we release new content. Enjoy the show. What's going on, Sixers fans? Welcome to another episode of Planet 76, episode 176. Fun fact, we're chugging along, and Michael and I were just talking. We're like almost to 200. It's crazy. So if you've been with us for one episode or 176 episodes, we're glad you are listening or watching wherever you get your podcast. My name's Troy, and Michael is here with me as always on Planet 76. And today's episode, in case you don't know, Sixers, well, let's just say the only talk related to the Sixers over the last couple months has been about the next season, about the NBA draft, because Sixers did not make the playoffs, and NBA Finals are well underway. But the NBA draft is coming in 9 days. A lot of Sixers fans have been talking about the NBA draft since like January because of the season the Sixers had. So we're almost here, another step closer toward actual Sixers basketball. Then we'll have the summer league, and before you know it, season will be here. But anyway, there's certainly a few things to talk about. I don't think it'll be the longest episode we've ever had, but Michael, again, we haven't recorded in a little bit, just kind of, I don't even know, whatever you want to say related to any of that or none of that. Here we are.
Yeah, not much in this realm. I think it's just been a lot of the same, especially when it comes to the draft and Embiid and Paul George. I think it's been almost 2 months since Embiid had his surgery. And we haven't heard a peep, which has definitely been bothering some Sixers fans. I'm not super worried about it because at the end of the day, the procedure went well, I think. And in reality, that's all that matters because as long as the procedure went well, that means the recovery can go smoothly and he can get right back on track to be able to get to where he was before. And it could be another couple weeks for an update. I'm cool with it. I'm not really bothered by it because, again, if the procedure did not go well, that'd be a concern, obviously, but it did. And to me, that's really the only thing that matters. So that's pretty much it for that. And as far as the draft, I mean, Troy and I will get into it in this episode, obviously. Not much has changed since we talked last week.
Yeah.
From what I remember, we talked a little bit about the draft. Maybe a minute or so in the last episode. So if you haven't listened to that, make sure you go check that out. We talked about just recap stuff, and we talked about, what did we talk about last episode?
Well, we talked about some potential names.
Yes.
Obviously, at that point, Sixers had the third pick, and that was kind of our reaction.
Yeah,
I guess not, some more things have gotten solidified. Obviously, there's rumors swirling around and whatnot, but we're 9 days away from it now, so something's gonna happen. One of these predictions that people are making is gonna be correct.
Yeah, and there have been some, I guess you could say, new layers to all of this. In that, for one, the Sixers, I believe, held a private workout for VJ Edgecombe last week. I think it was last Wednesday. It was, from what I saw and what I gathered, it was the first private workout for the Sixers of any player in the draft. So VJ Edgecombe was first. I believe they had scheduled a private workout for Ace Bailey. I'm not sure if it actually happened, but as far as I know, those are the only two guys that have been scheduled for a workout with the Sixers. Okay. So that would lead most rational people to assume that these are the main two draft candidates for the Sixers. Daryl Morey has been pretty vocal about wanting to use the pick. They're going to keep their options open, but they want to use the pick. They want to select someone on draft night, and I have a feeling they will stick to that unless they're wowed. I think that actually is what's happening. I mean, I think I saw something a few days ago. Unless the Sixers are wowed by an offer, either to trade up or down, they're going to use the pick. And I don't think anybody will be mad about that. In fact, I I don't have access to 90% of the Sixers fan base, but I would guess at least 90% of the Sixers fan base would be thrilled if the Sixers did use the pick. And obviously, a good chunk of that 90% would also not mind if they traded up or down, depending on who's available. I did see a report. I don't know if it was a report, more so just a rumor and speculation, that the Sixers were in talks with the Spurs about potentially moving up. Very preliminary stuff, though. Nothing really to materialize.
Mm-hmm.
That would probably mean the Sixers take Harper, and as far as I know, the more reliable information is that the Spurs are going to stay and take Harper because they want him. I think it's really just going to come down to who's available for the Sixers. If Ace Bailey is available, which he probably will be, if VJ Edgecomb's available, which he more than likely will be, I think it's going to be between those two guys. Especially because those are the only two guys I think the Sixers have held private workouts for. And again, I think it's really important to note that you wouldn't schedule a private workout with a guy if you didn't have any intentions of even considering him with your number 3 overall pick.
Yep.
So, yeah, as of 4 days ago, the Sixers hosted VJ Edgecombe in a pre-draft workout. According to Bleacher Report 5 days ago, VJ Edgecombe is reportedly the prime candidate for the Sixers in the draft. This is also according to Jake Fisher, and I know a lot of people have a mixed relationship with him as an analyst, as an insider, whatever you want to call him, but he's pretty reliable. And according to him, VJ Edgecombe is considered to be a prime candidate to be drafted 3rd overall. Bleacher Report writer Jonathan Wasserman predicted in the latest mock draft the Sixers would use the pick for Ace Bailey. There is an expectation that they would bring in Bailey for a workout down the road, and this was 4 days ago. I actually do think shortly after this they did announce that Bailey was going to come in for a workout.
Yeah.
But according to Jake Fisher, Edgecombe is said to have impressed with his work ethic, personality, and his interviews. He had dinner with Daryl Morey, and Tyrese Maxey was there as well. I've been very staunch. What's the word? Staunch? What is the word?
Maybe.
I've been very staunch on Ace Bailey as the guy I would take. Yeah. However, I took a few days to really watch VJ Edgecombe at Baylor this year, and I really like his skill set, even though he doesn't bring you that length and wingspan and frame that Ace Bailey does. I like VJ Edgecombe because I think he is a lot more polished offensively. He's obviously not the explosive scorer that Ace Bailey is, but I think VJ Edgecombe has the potential for that, especially watching him and especially watching his ability to attack the basket, his ability to take guys off the dribble, and his rebounding for a guard. I know that's kind of off topic, but his rebounding for a guard is insane. I don't want to say I've never seen, but I have rarely seen a guard who can rebound like he does.
Yep, he's good, man.
He's really good. So I don't want to say I've done a complete 180 on VJ Edgecombe, but I kind of have because before I never really considered him. But seeing his two-way ability, his ability to shoot off the catch, his ability to score, and his ability to attack the basket, I think in the modern NBA, having guys who can attack the basket and attack the defense at the rim, you can't really have too much of that. And I think with him and Maxey in the backcourt, I think you have a really exciting, explosive tandem, especially when it comes to attacking the basket, taking guys off the dribble, attacking in space. I really like the potential for a VJ Tyrese Maxey backcourt. Two really explosive athletes, and VJ Edgecombe is a pretty good defender. I don't know where I would say he is defensively, but he's very good, and especially for a guard, he's very good. He's very quick. He is
He averaged over
strong.
2 steals a game at Baylor.
Yeah, he's a really good shot blocker for a guard. He's a really good weak side defender, which for those who don't know what that means, basically when a guy is coming down, if you're listening, unfortunately you can't see this. Guy's coming down, let's say the basket's right here, a guy's coming down this way. A weak side defender is somebody on this side of the ball, basically away from the ball. So VJ Edgecombe is really good at recovering back to the ball here. He's really good at weak side defense. He's really good at converging on the offensive player. He's really good at blocking coming from the weak side. Not the best explanation, but I think you get the point. I really like his defense, especially for a guard. And Ace Bailey is cool. I obviously would not be mad if the Sixers did take him, but I really, the idea of VJ Edgecombe has really grown on me, and I'm really, honestly, kind of on board for VJ Edgecombe to the Sixers.
Yeah, I think I'm in a similar situation. I follow. I mean, Rutgers, again, amazingly enough, and I think we talked about this with Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey not even making the NCAA tournament. Their coach must really not be very good because you have two top 5 picks and the rest of your team, or the recruiting. I don't know how you get those guys and no other talent. I don't know, but I think I said, you and I could have been out there and helped them make the NCAA tournament. I don't what kind of quality of players around them. I don't know. I didn't follow Rutgers basketball much, other than those two again.
Yeah.
But Baylor, I mean, very very good program over the last number of years. They're on national television a lot, and I watch the Big 12 a lot, so I got familiar with Edgecombe through that, and he's good. I mean, both these guys are freshmen, which makes sense. At the top of the draft, that's very common, and it's interesting because you said a couple times Sixers might have only hosted or will host just these 2 guys, and that's the luxury you kind of have when you're at the top of the draft, because you don't have to have 17 guys come in, because all right, yeah, these are my guys, and I know one of them's going to be available, and so I'm going to pick one of them. And you drift back. I remember when the Sixers are normally in the 20s picking, it seems like every other day you see someone in there for a workout because they're trying to figure out what they're going to do.
Right.
But as far as the number 3 pick's concerned, their options are plentiful, but they're limited as far as what they're actually going to do, and we recognize that. And I think I'm in agreement as well with just unless there is a wow offer, let's not settle. Obviously, it goes without saying, but let's take one of these guys, whichever one it is. And it does seem, the betting favorite right now is Edgecombe. I think I've read a couple things that believe he's more NBA ready to make an impact.
Yeah, that would make sense too.
Yeah,
based on
especially with his defensive ability and right. And just again, this is a unique situation that the number 3 pick is coming into, just as it is even the number 1 and 2 this year on teams that aren't coming into the NBA draft with a 10-72 record. Sixers want to win, and you can come and have an impact on that, hopefully, as you're a rookie. So which one's it going to be? We don't know. But I guess, kind of another question might be, what are some things you have heard? Let's say they don't keep the pick. Let's say they trade, or big trades, or, NBA free agency's coming up. Even, I think teams can begin talking in just a couple weeks, and then free agency officially opens up on July 6th. So even that's coming. I don't know if you're hearing whether it's draft related or Sixers are going to deal this guy or that guy, or their eyes are on this guy. I don't know what else you're kind of hearing in this season.
Yeah, and kind of just to bridge our 2 conversations here, and I did touch on this a few minutes ago, but as of June 12th, the Sixers reportedly did speak to the Spurs about trading for the 2nd pick. Kyle Neubeck confirmed that the Sixers did talk to the Spurs about potentially moving up, and so it looks like Ace Bailey's workout is going to be before the draft. I don't know that it's happened yet, but It seems as though it's going to. It may have been today, to be honest with you. But like I said before, the Spurs are very much believed to be targeting Dylan Harper. which means if the Sixers want to trade up, then it seems like they're interested in Harper as well.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I did see, and I should have.
I guess like even are there any things you've seen that kind of catch your eye a little bit as something you would not be opposed to, right? Like last time we were on here, we were talking about like Trey Murphy. You're going and getting somebody, making a real kind of splash with that. Anything at all attractive to you right now, or?
Honestly, no. I did see something along the lines of Lonnie Walker and 3 for Herb Jones and 7, which is actually funny because a little over a month ago I made a post on my Instagram saying I would trade the 3rd pick for Herb Jones. Now of course everyone demolished me in my comments. What are you doing? You're an idiot.
And then you see a real...
And then I see a legit thing that people are talking about, 6,000 votes on Twitter, and 53% said they would do it. Hello? Yeah. I talked about that a month ago. And everybody was saying, well, you didn't say Herb Jones. You didn't say Herb Jones and 7 for the 3rd. Like, it's implied. When you're trading down, it's implied that you're getting that lower pick when you trade your higher pick. It's implied.
And it's not even that significant of a...
And it's not even that significant of a
whatever,
detail. Yeah. So, all I'm saying is more people should listen to what I have to say.
Yeah. Come on.
Because, I'm not the smartest guy in the room most of the time, but when it comes to the Sixers, I know what I'm talking about. So, I just think it's really hilarious that I floated that idea around over a month ago at this point, and it just came out a couple days ago of majority of Sixers Twitter voting in favor of it. It's like, hello, I've been on this train, and it's funny, I would still probably do that. I don't know. I'm a lot less bullish on it than I was before, especially after watching VJ Edgecombe, because I think if you're getting a guy like Herb Jones, yes, he's more of a win now piece, but right. VJ Edgecombe can help you now, and he can also help you a lot in the future. I think he's already better offensively than Herb Jones is. And to be honest, for as good of a defender as Herb Jones is, I would still rather have VJ Edgecombe because VJ Edgecombe is still a pretty good defender, but he's a lot better offensively. And I think now VJ Edgecombe is more of a guard than a wing, but he can play wing probably in bigger lineups, or smaller lineups, whatever. Either way, you still have to be a competent offensive player in the NBA in 2025. And Herb Jones is a competent offensive player. I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying I would rather have what VJ Edgecombe brings versus what Herb Jones brings. So I would still do that trade. It's just that I'm a lot less bullish on it than I was before about that trade. Because you're still getting 7. So let's just say you do 3, and I don't know why the Pelicans would want Lonnie Walker or whatever. 3 and Lonnie Walker for Herb Jones and 7. So let's say at 7 you get Con Kneppel from Duke. You're essentially trading perhaps Ace Bailey or VJ Edgecombe and Lonnie Walker for Con Kneppel and Herb Jones, which that's cool with me. You have 2. I think Con Kneppel is also a win now player. He's NBA ready. He has a lot of different skills, especially offensively. You're getting 2 NBA level wings who can help you win now. I would not be opposed to that at all. I mean, you want to talk about keeping the Sixers window open. You get 2 NBA ready guards. Con Kneppel can come off the bench. Herb Jones is an immediate starter right alongside Tyrese Maxey. You have Maxey. You have insert McCain, Oubre, whoever. Herb Jones, Paul George, Joel Embiid. That's a legit NBA starting 5. With an instant 6th man of the year candidate right off the bat in Con Kneppel. And if you don't start Jared McCain, he's also a 6th man of the year candidate on day 1 too. So you're talking about a pretty loaded 7-8 man rotation, even if you trade down, because assuming Con Kneppel's there, that I don't know why they wouldn't take him. I just there's definitely avenues they can go down. They have options. the best case scenario is that they probably do use the pick. So that's what I'm going to go with. I mean, obviously, we're still a week and a half out. And realistically, like, I don't think the Sixers are going to know until draft night what they're actually going to do.
Yep.
Not that I would know, of course, but
Right,
that's
and
my
the phone
guess.
will be ringing, and who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, right.
But...
I mean, somebody could call the Sixers 3 hours before the draft. Hey, we'll give you, I don't know.
Well, it might be that wow deal. It
Yeah,
might
right.
Be that eye-opening thing.
That's what I'm saying. Unless the Sixers are wowed by a deal, they'll use the pick. Basically, long story short.
Right, and I don't want to get you going in this area, but I know you. I know you trust Daryl to deal with said pick or deal said pick if there's something that's enticing, and if there's not, he's going to use it.
Yeah,
right.
Of course. Exactly. I fully trust him.
Yeah.
I don't think
he's made that clear, folks.
Yeah.
For a long time on this very podcast.
It's just like I don't have a reason not to. It's like if he uses the pick, good move because there's no other option to use the pick. If he trades it and the trade is really good, cool. Yeah. It's probably a win now move. Instant impact players coming back to you.
Yep.
It's a win-win.
Exactly.
You can't
That's
really.
Exactly right.
My philosophy with the draft is you can't the Sixers can't really mess this up because I mean in theory sure, but they can't really mess this up because you have a ton of different avenues you can go down whether you use the pick or you trade it.
Right. I agree. I think in other words, what you're saying too is that we and hope rational Sixers fans, as you said earlier, rational fans will have a reason to be happy after the draft's over, knowing whatever happened, and we're moving on and we're ready for next season. We're ready to bounce back and hopefully have a good year. So I do think it's interesting because this isn't always the case. When you're a month or 2 months out from the draft and you hear names, linked to your team, it's like, all right, whatever, that's subject to change. But nothing's changed in the last month. I mean, we were sitting here. No. You can listen to the episode where we talked about it right after the, draft lottery. I mean, nothing's changed. These have been the two names linked often to the Sixers, and if they keep their pick, there's a really 90% chance that it's going to be one of these two guys, and we're just going to see what happens with that. This is kind of a switch of subject, but watching the NBA playoffs and especially the finals with the two teams that are there, it's a new era of NBA basketball.
Yeah.
Not just because the two teams that are in the finals are in the finals, but because of the way their rosters are constructed. I mean, say goodbye to the eras of the big threes and, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is an absolute superstar.
He is
Tyrese
great.
Halliburton's proven to be a superstar.
Well, I mean, I don't know if he's a super.
In the clutch.
It all depends on what you mean by super. I look at Steph Curry as a superstar. Are him and Steph Curry the same? I don't think so.
Yeah, maybe not.
Either,
but he's proven something this playoff.
Yes.
If he wins the finals, he's a superstar. So you look at these teams, and then you got guys like Siakam and Chet Holmgren and Williams and I mean, these guys aren't even household name. I mean, if you follow the NBA,
Chet Holmgren
you know what I mean?
I would say the only reason Chet Holmgren is a household name is because one, that video he has of crossing Steph Curry,
right?
Or the fact that he's just a giant dude, he's 7'3". Other than that,
a new thing.
Aaron Nesmith is not a household name. Andrew Nembhard is not a household name.
T.J. McConnell.
Well, he might
not a household name.
He might. He probably
For us, he is. For us,
he
is.
I mean, I would say a national consensus. He's more of a household name than Andrew Nembhard.
Yeah, yeah, and look at these guys that are impacting their team so much that they're in the NBA Finals. It's just kind of, for the first time in a long time, I was just like, wow, this is. And there's new ways of getting it done, different guys producing on a different night, not asking the same guy to get 35 so you can win a game. I mean, Shea, I guess a little bit, but there's just different guys stepping up that aren't household names and are considered more of role players. And all that to say, if we bring it back and connect it a little bit, like whoever the Sixers get with third pick or they trade him or whatever, like this has the potential to be a guy that impacts winning. And they don't need to be a superstar right away. They don't need to be a superstar at all to even be on a team that makes a deep playoff run, because we're seeing it before our very eyes. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well said.
And the Sixers have their stars, which is good.
It's going to be an uphill climb, though, for the even with the draft and even with whatever trades or moves they make in the offseason, it's still going to be an uphill climb. Like you said, it's a new, I guess you could say, era. I don't like using that word. It just seems kind of cheesy. But it's like there's some transition in the NBA. There's new styles of play on both ends of the floor. The Thunder with the Hartenstein Holmgren double big thing. The Cavs did that for a while. It works really well. The Bucks can do it with Giannis and Brook Lopez or Giannis and Bobby Portis. The Sixers can't. I mean, unless they want to do Bona and Embiid, that's kind of weird. But like, it could be something to experiment with. But like, Bona is not good enough for that to work. Like, double bigs work partially because both of the bigs are actually good. And Bona he's fine, he's okay, he's just not good enough.
Right.
So you can't really and Embiid and Drummond together is just a nightmare. So
as I mean this is again switching gears again, and maybe we'll kind of end with this, but as someone who's engaged in social media and Sixers and has a pulse even on what people are saying and how they're feeling and all that sort of thing. I mean, this was a very discouraging season the Sixers are coming off of. Yeah. Partly because expectations were high. Like, that's a huge reason. You have high expectations and you have low results, you're going to be pretty upset. Is there anyone out there like that you're seeing that's, because I fully believe that there are reasons as to why Sixers struggled this year, and a lot of that's injuries and things beyond their control and, XYZ. Are there other people who are a little more skeptical heading into 2025, 2026, thinking, they have the same core and whatever, regardless of what they do with the draft? Like, are there people who are doubting that the Sixers can stay with, Paul George, Maxey, Embiid and really make noise in a playoff run? Because I'm hopeful that they can. But are there other people that you're reading or comments or seeing posts or articles like saying, hey, I don't really know about this?
Oh, yeah. There are. There's plenty of that. And unfortunately, until the season starts, we're going to see a lot of that. And we may see an uptick in that as the offseason goes on. Now, I think a lot of those people will be sort of converted in a sense after the draft and maybe after free agency if the Sixers can make some decent moves to just finish up the roster.
Sure.
There's a lot of people like I would say a vast.
What do you say? What not like what you literally say to them in comments, or but what would you if someone was here right now with what would you say to them to get them off that train and onto a train that's optimistic heading into the next season?
It's hard for for a lot of people there isn't anything you can say because for a lot of people they're convinced that Embiid is a bum and Paul George sucks and Nick Nurse is a terrible coach. So those three variables alone. If you believe all three of those, or even one or two of those, like the foundation for your belief in the Sixers is very poor. So it's going to be hard for you to be swayed, and it's just I can see the other side. I can see the dismay and how that can translate to a very great disbelief in the team overall heading into next season. So I would just say that, Embiid's surgery went well. That's something to look forward to. Paul George is going to come back healthy. We have Jared McCain coming back, and he was quickly a fan favorite, as we all know. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of these variables are inherently good markers for the Sixers because if Embiid didn't get the surgery, or if the surgery didn't go well, or if there were complications, I think that would be cause for even more concern than there is right now. But I think these things coming together when they are, make for good, or I should say, make for a make it easy to see that it's improving. I guess the situation is improving. Things can only go up from here.
Yeah,
Which we're kind of at rock bottom. So yeah,
yes.
everything things can only go up from here. Hopefully.
As you were going toward the end of that, I was like, yeah, things can only get better. It's only up from here.
Yeah.
And like it was a terrible experience. It was a terrible season.
Terrible.
And the good news is it's over. And also the good news is, like, I mean, you hear the phrase, time heals in lots of different ways, in people and relationships and things, but also in a Sixers basketball season that was really bad. And, now we've had a lot of time off. We're going to continue to have time off before games count. And time just heals. And again, I'm optimistic that by the time, tip off of the first game rolls around, that, there'll be a reason to cheer the Sixers on and be optimistic about the season they're heading into, just as much, if not more, as the season we just came out of. Like, heading into that, there was great reason for optimism, and I don't think that changes based off the season that they just had. Now, again, and we've said it multiple times on this very show, that, like, if Embiid played 75 games, Paul George played 75 games, Maxey played 75 games, the Sixers didn't make the playoffs, blow it up.
Yeah, we would be looking at something. We would be looking at even greater of an abomination than what this season was. Like, that would be really bad.
Right, yeah. Then you agree. Blow it up. Let's go. Start something new. Let's rebuild.
Well,
the process.
I don't know if I still don't know if I would say blow it up, but, like, I think
something.
I think you could make a much more compelling case after something like that happens.
That's a wrap for Planet 76, episode 176. And NBA draft is just 9 days away. Mark your calendars for, what is that, Wednesday?
June 25th.
The 25th.
I think.
See what the Sixers go. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's
VJ
right.
Edgecombe or Ace Bailey or other.
Or something totally out of left field, but probably not.
Who knows?
Probably not.
Who knows? Probably not, but we'll see. Anyway, we'll see you next time on Planet 76. You just listened to an episode of the Planet 76 podcast. Hey, we appreciate you joining us for this episode. Whatever platform you're on, why don't you hit that subscribe button for us, and we'll see you next time.